Thank you guys so much. It's fucking amazing. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys.
Give it up one more time for Billy Wayne Davis, everybody! Hold on. Hold on.
I forgot to tell you about the time I did DMT, you guys. Y'all want to hear about it? Okay. My friend Shane had it. Chances are, if a dude's named Shane, he might have DMT. So if you're interested in this drug after this story, find a Shane. He texted me like 3 in the morning, and he was like, "Do you want to do DMT?" I was like, "Yeah." "What is it?" He's like, "Come over." I was like, "Be there in a little bit." So I went, and I was like, "Hey, dude, how long will this take?" And he's like, like 10 or 15 minutes, but it'll feel like 1,000 years. I was like, "Let's do it." And I got both those amounts. I was like, you gotta hit it 3 times. And I was like, "Hell yeah." He's like, "Take the biggest hit you can take." And I was like, "I always do." First time I hit it, I held it in, I blew it out, and I was like, "That tastes like a burnt shoe." You gotta warn people about that. And he was like, "They don't do it when I warn them about that." You're smart. Then I hit it the second time. He's like, "Second time it's gonna feel awful, like you're dying." I was like, "Okay." I held it in, I blew it out. Yeah, and I was like, "I hate this, I wanna stop it." And he's like, "Smoke the shoe." If I'm already dying, okay. I hit. God, it's so pretty. Glad I trusted you. Those are colors I've never, ever seen, man. God. It looks like it doesn't belong. But the closer you get to it, the more it makes sense, and you see it all belongs. Everything has a place. Oh, we're all connected. It may be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Hey, dude. Hey. Do you not see these people here? That's my bad. I was having a real nice moment. You're trying to... in the middle of something. I got you. Hey, listen. I got it all figured out. Tell me you love me in front of all these people. Just, all you gotta do, just say it. Say it. Say, "I love you, Billy Wayne." Say it. Ladies and gentlemen of the congregation, please welcome Billy Wayne Davis. That's that special energy. All right. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You guys got a lot of confidence in me. I like that. I dress like a painter because I painted this room. I'll just get this out of the way. I am aware of my accent as well. I don't need you guys just staring at me, being like, "Where's it come from?" Because that happens every show I do. The first 5 minutes, they won't let me be a person with thoughts. It's just a guessing game. They're like, is it Texas? No. Mississippi? I'm like, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. I just tell them, Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee. Every time I'm like, oh, you like a redneck? I'm like, absolutely not. It's highly offensive what you just said. Then they're like, you like a hillbilly? I relate. But if you meet an actual hillbilly, you have made a terrible mistake. You need to get off their property. They don't like that. That's like their only rule. Get! Oh, he said get with an I. Go, go. I get it. They also want to know, too, like, especially people that have never been to the South, fascinated, like, what's the South really like? What's it really like? I'm like, well, it's probably like 8 or 10 of the coolest cities, full of the coolest people, very just unique and just a meld of different human beings and cultures. It's amazing, and the rest of it is exactly what you've heard. But more intense than you can imagine. And then they're always like, well, what's the worst part of the South? I'm like, Alabama, before you finish that question. You guys know, all right. And they're always, every time though, they're always like, well, what about Mississippi? I'm like, that's not their fault. Historically, the worst education system in our country since the start. They don't know any better. In Alabama, they know better. They just don't give a shit. That got applause in Birmingham. It's not what I was going for. I was trying to shame them. And they were like, that's us. Yeah. Roll Tide. I know how the accent sounds. I'm aware. It sounds dumb. I get it. It's a scam. We're all running. People think we're way dumber than we actually are. It's the opposite of the British accent. Think about it. Yeah, they sound smart, but if you listen, you're like, oh, you're dumb as hell. I get it. There's certain words I shouldn't say. Makes people uncomfortable. Like, my wife is Jewish. Just saying that, people are like, hey, easy. Careful. I'm like, what? I married a Jew. People are like, I know you can't say that. Like, you can't say that. We just had a baby. I made a Jew. People are like, I gotta get out of here. He's trying to get people fired. Don't go over there. I did. I made a Jew, you guys. You can applaud. That's cool. It would have been weird if you kind of applauded and then didn't. You guys came through. I did. I didn't know growing up I could make a Jew. I didn't know. But I can, and I did. Pretty cool. What happened was my wife is Jewish, and her vagina also Jewish. And the baby came out of there, Jew. It's science. And religion, I think. I don't understand. It's confusing. I don't ask a lot of questions. But he's got blonde hair and blue eyes. I Nazi-proof that son of a bitch. You can laugh out loud. That's a good thing I did. You guys can enjoy yourself here at the comedy show. Feel free. That joke 3 or 4 years ago was just historically funny, and then it got relevant again. I'm just saying, I did not see them making a comeback. I didn't. Fascinating. 3 or 4 years ago, people laughed and like, oh, it's funny. Now people laugh and like, that's good you did that. I get this question a lot because I sound like I do and then I say the stuff I do. How'd you get that way? It's confusing. You sound, like you sound, but the stuff you say is not from where you're from. Like, I had to evaluate it, and it's like, I think it's because my parents are pretty cool people. Like, my dad's a football coach and teacher. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I called him before he retired like a couple years ago. I was like, hey man, what do you do during the day? He's like, you need to mind your own business is what you need to do. Yes, sir, coach. My mom's an English teacher and a maniac. That's what she does. Sure, her name is Storm. Yeah, that's weird, right? I was in my 20s before I was like, that is weird. Because when you're little, you're just like, I guess everyone's mom's named after an American gladiator. That's how it is. That's Steven's mom, Laser. I lived in Seattle for a while, and they came to visit my parents. And there's a WNBA team there named the Seattle Storm. And I was like, is there anything you guys want to do while you're here? Like anything special? And my mom was like, I want to go see that Seattle Storm play. And I was like, why? She's like, because their name's, I hate you so much. Smart ass. I was like, professional smart ass. I had no interest in going in the game, and my dad was like, I like fundamental basketball. You gotta listen to him, he's kind of mean. So I got them tickets, they went to the game, they came back. My dad walked past me like nothing happened. I was like, hey mom, what's going on, how was the game? It was great, I think I might be homophobic. What happened at the game? She's like, well, they were great seats. Oh, thank you so much. We're down close, and action started happening. We were having fun, and then there was like a timeout, and then there were a lot of lesbians there. I was like, you don't have to whisper that word. That's their preferred word. She said, okay. Well, there are a lot of, I can't not whisper it. I don't know why. I was like, okay, there are a lot of lesbians there, Mom, yeah. And she was like, yeah, and then when there's the timeout, they'd all start making out and like their tongues going everywhere. I was like, oh, I don't like this. I was like, huh. Well, if there had been a bunch of straight couples there making out during the timeout, would that have bothered you? Yes. Stop making me see your tongue in public. I don't like that. I'm like, oh, Mom, you don't like public displays of affection, PDA. You're not homophobic. And she was like, oh, thank God. It's in there. I didn't like it, but it was in there, you know? And that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is how I am the way I am. Because my neurotic mother, my whole life has been like, have you worried about something that doesn't exist and can't happen yet? She go worry about that. I grew up in a small town called Crossville. And when I tell people in Los Angeles where I live, like, hey, I'm from a small town in Tennessee, and they're always like, oh, like Chattanooga? I'm like, no. That's a city. They're like, no, it's kind of, I've been there, it's like a small town. No. No, that's a city. I don't even know how to explain to you what a small town is now. Okay, here's how small the town I'm from is. When I was in 5th grade, my older cousin went to a field party, got in a fight, and killed a dude. In high school, the dead dude's sister asked me to the prom. That's a small town. Not a lot of options. I had to decline her offer, though, because my father made a solid point when he went, I don't know about that. She might have forgot, but I don't think her daddy did. People in the South love that joke so much. They love it. People outside the South just get sad. People in the South are like, those are just two good daddies right there. That's all that is. You gotta play the hand dealt with you, man. That's what it is. I did that joke on the Conan O'Brien program a couple years ago, and I thought it was like a clever way to be like, hey, here's who I am and where I'm from, in a funny, put it together, And America would be like, yeah. But no. All America wanted to know was like, tell me about that murder. Is there like a podcast I can listen to? 48 hours? First 48. ID channel? Forensic Files. My favorite murder. I'm just like, I think it's just a normal murder. I don't know. And they won't let it go. They just stand there looking at me like, well, tell me about that murder. I'm like, I wasn't there. I was in 5th grade. I think you had to be in 6th grade to get to that party. But I've realized, like, people want to hear about this thing. And I've also realized, like, it has shaped who I am as a human being, and it's probably why my sense of humor is kind of dark. So I'm going to talk about some messed up stuff here in a little bit in a very hysterical way. And that's how I handle trauma in my life, is I make it super funny and then I charge people to come hear about it. So, if that bothers you, you should go now, because it's going to get weird. Because some fun stuff happened when I was in 5th grade. So, there's one lady, yay, dark stuff. Which is a weird voice to hear that. Yay, I like that. So what happened? This country strong man, and I'm in Colorado, I don't have to really explain what that is, but other places I do. They're like the movie? I'm like, no, what? No. No, country strong is like, it's someone that's not like ripped or shredded. They're mostly fat, but it's the strongest person you've ever seen in your whole life. They fight like this. I learned from cartoons. I've never lost. You just hear them say stuff like, Daddy got the tractor stuck, so I had to pull it out. Well, Country Strong decided to do all the cocaine he could find in our little county. And as I get older, I realized that was probably not mostly cocaine. We were in the middle of Tennessee, which is a landlocked state. Not a lot of direct flights from Columbia. Hell, it could have just been fiberglass and lightning bug juice. You know what I mean? A little Kodiak for taste. So he did all of it. And I don't know if you guys have ever done cocaine, but you're here. So I assume you've smelled it. You know, when you do cocaine, it motivates you to do the worst thing you've ever wanted to do. And you're like, tonight's the night. I have the confidence. Let's do it. Yeah, this is a great idea. Yeah. How can this go wrong? Let's do some more. Well, that dude, Country Strong, he's like, I've always wanted to do a murder, It's in there. I'm going to do it tonight. So he showed up at the party. He found a little dude because he's not dumb. He went over and he picked him up and he started strangling him. And the dude was just dangling. And people at the party were like, stop it. He was like, I got it. Like, you're killing him. Yeah. Stop. Okay. And then my cousin had a gun at a party. That never gets a laugh anymore. Whole country just looks at me like, mm-hmm. Man had a party pistol, what about it? Well, my cousin pulls out his party pistol. He's like, hey, stop. And he's like, I got it. He's like, I'm gonna shoot you. And he was like, I was here first. So my cousin shot him in the shoulder, in the back, and that will make you stop killing who you're killing. But what it also does is gives you new motivation and a new target to do murder to. Because he just turned around, old Country Strong, and just made a beeline for my cousin, and my cousin shot him twice in the chest. That will kill you every time. The first one, you're like, hey. Second one, you're like, got me. My cousin tried to perform CPR, but, it didn't work. So the guy died. I told you in the beginning what happens. Every time I tell this, people get sad right there. And I'm Tarantino the hell out of this story. And tell you in the beginning, and still you guys are like, oh. A couple weeks later, the dead dude's uncle shows up at my uncle's store. They don't know each other. Dead dude's uncle walks up to my uncle, my cousin's father, puts a gun to his temple, pulls the trigger, shoots him point blank in the head. My uncle falls to the ground, realizes he's been shot, reaches under the counter, pulls out his gun, and comes back up. Yeah. That's my favorite part of the story, too. It's amazing. I love to think about what the dude that just shot my uncle was thinking, because that's not in any plan he made. Like, he didn't go back to his buddies and they're like, did you shoot him? Hell yeah, I walked in there and shot him. He fell down like he's supposed to. Then what'd you do? Did you dance like Fortnite and get out of there? What'd you do? No, he came back up with a gun. I just threw my gun at him because it's obvious bullets don't affect this man. I didn't know zombies happen that fast. My uncle chased him around the store shooting at him, but he missed because you get shot in the head. It messes up your aim. He chased him out of the store. The dude ran to his truck, got in his truck, and drove to the police station and turned himself in. He later got acquitted. He pled insanity, and everybody's like, yeah. Probably. I like to think he wasn't insane until my uncle popped back up. He's like, yeah, man, shit ain't what you think it is. You go your whole life being like, I got this pretty figured out, and in one instance, you're like, I'm not sure how any of this really works. And that's why I don't wear pants and I poop wherever I want, like a horse. I believe we're gonna have to go with insanity. This has nothing to do with this story, but it just happened, so it kind of does. 7 days before my uncle got shot in the head, he's leaving his store, the Friday before the Friday of the head thing. He had shut his store down, he's leaving. The FOP's having a turkey shoot in the field next to his store. Love that I don't have to explain what that is. Everyone in Colorado are like, mm-hmm. Most places are like, what is it? Is that, huh? Do they shoot a turkey? You're like, no, it's dumber than that. They see who the best shot is, and then they win a butterball. What? Why? The JCs? I don't know. So, buckshot ricochets off the target, across the field, as my uncle's getting into his truck, threw his hand into his ass. Yeah, he goes down, he's like, ah, my ass. Ah, my ass. People come running over to help him, they're freaking out, like, you got a hole in your hand. He's like, ass. Ass. People are like, there's a hole in your hand. He's like, something's still in my ass. It's hot, get it out. Like, remove the plug, and he's like, all right, fix my Jesus hand. That's a quote. Yeah. That's a badass mofo right there. That's definition. Fix my Jesus hand. My ass feels fine now. He was a Vietnam fighter pilot, so his nerves weren't the same as everybody else's. He went to the hospital, they sewed him up. He went back to work. Yeah, and then got shot in the head the next week. Yeah. Yeah. They said he walked to the ambulance after he got shot in the head, and my parents and family were like, it freaked a lot of people out. Those EMTs did not know what to do. They wouldn't even let him in our hospital. They're just like, take that zombie man to Vanderbilt. Get him out of here. We can't fix that. What are you talking about? Get out of here. Quit getting shot. They flew a helicopter in to get him. Like I said, he was a fighter pilot, and the whole time they said he just bothered the pilots about flying. And they said that freaked them out, too. Because those guys aren't used to the patient moving or talking, and he had a, shot in the head. And he's like, so is this like a Huey or a Bell? What are y'all flying here? And they're, you should sit down. You okay? Shot in the head. It's a Bell. So they took him to Vanderbilt Medical Center, which is a research hospital and a learning hospital, and it's very advanced and highly funded. And then they diagnosed him with miracle. That's true. I remember being in 5th grade and I was like, no. Not a miracle. It's not how this building's supposed to work. It says Vanderbilt Medical Center. It does not say Baptist Medical Center. Yeah. I think that's a diagnosis over there. What is it? Miracle, good job praying. But at Vanderbilt, they were like, miracle. And I was like, But they didn't, they didn't do anything to him because, he was fine. Which is weird. They're like, be careful. Don't touch stuff. I don't know. But they didn't remove it either. Like, the path it took, I guess it bounced off his thick-ass skull and never went in, and then it lodged itself in the back near his larynx. So it pressed on his larynx. So the rest of his life, he sounded like Jacob Dylan from the Wallflowers. Which did not go with his body or face at all. It was awesome. He just walk in and be like, hey, what's up here? Whoa, sexy voice, look at that. Is that whiskey and cigarettes? No, I got 9 mil in my throat. That's sexy, actually. Let me see it, Jesus ain't. But my cousin, he ended up having to go to prison because even in Tennessee, they're like, no, not at a party. Guns are for this at parties, not for this. No. They got him for second-degree murder. Say anymore. Speed up about 5-6 years. I'm 15 years old. Sitting in my room. My mom walks in unannounced, which, looking back on it, hell of a gamble. Could have really messed both of us up, you know. She busted in. She's like, "Hey." I was like, "Hey." She's like, "What you doing this weekend?" "I don't know." "Well, I'll give you a choice. You can go to church with me or go see your cousin in prison." And I was like, "I'll go to prison." I've been in church a bunch. It's not fun. So I went to prison. It was me, my great aunt, my uncle, Jesus hand, my Mimi, who's pure love. That's all she is. She's pure love. My other aunt. We drive to the prison. It was a monumental day in my life, I could say. You know, one of those days you're like, oh, everyone's been lying to me about stuff. Okay. Because we got to the security part. That was way more intense than I was expecting. It's not like TSA at a prison, where they're like, pat you down, and like, hey, have fun, get in there. No. It was this young Tennessee State prison guard. He took me in first. I was the first one to go in. That was the meanest thing they've done to me all day, and I'll explain in a minute why. So we get in there, he pats me down, and he's like, all right, now take your pants off. And I was like, you as well. We do it at the same time, it's sexy. He laughed a little bit, you know, he's new. He's like, that's funny. I was like, why do I have to take my pants off? He's like, oh, I gotta look in your butt. And I was like, I don't think that's true. You have to do a better reason than that for me to take my pants off. How new are you? Are there old guards out there right now? I'm like, I told him to go look in that kid's butt. They're both gonna be mad. He's like, no, people put stuff in there. And I was like, in their butt? I was a 15-year-old athlete. It was tight, you know what I mean? Sometimes it hurts when I poop. That's where I was at on the butthole thing. I was like, I don't think you can put stuff in there. He's like, yeah, you can. And he said it in a way that you could tell he knew. It wasn't a guess. He was like, no, you can't. You can't. So I believed him at that point. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's your job. I don't have to look at it. There you go. He's like, there's nothing in there. I was like, I told you. Then he made me lift my sack. I'm still not sure why. 25 years. I don't know why. He thought I was hiding a penny? I don't understand. Maybe just like taints. You know, that's his thing. Good looking grundle on that kid. I did say grundle. But this was the meanest thing they did. They made me go first. And then I had to sit out there while my great aunt, my other great aunt, my Mimi, who's pure love, and then my great uncle went in there. And I'd never thought about their buttholes before. Tell you the truth, I didn't even aware they had buttholes. You know what I mean? Never crossed my mind before that moment when each one of them walked out of the room and we made eye contact. That kind of, you know, that eye contact where you're bonded with someone forever? You're like, well, we did this together, didn't we? We'll go our separate ways, but we can call on each other anytime. You know, and then I started thinking things like, I bet my uncle could hide some stuff in there, I guess. You know. Might fall out that hole. The other hole, he's got two. Remember? So then they take us in a straight line, the Tennessee State Prison Guard. We're outside, we're on a sidewalk. We're going to meet the prisoners. My aunt's right in front of me, and she goes, "Excuse me, guard, excuse me. I forgot something in my car. Can I go get it now?" And before I could say something smart-ass to her, the Tennessee State Prison Guard says, "Yeah, that reminds me, if anybody else forgot anything in your car, now's a good time to go get it before we go inside to see the prisoners." And I said viscerally, without even thinking, it just came out, "Then why'd that guy look inside me then?" You understand my confusion? He just winked at me. I was like, "I don't like that either." And at this point, my Mimi, who's pure love, she came over. She could tell I was rattled, because I was yelling at the guard about my butthole. She was like, "Hey." And she said one of the most profound things I had ever heard in my whole life in this very intense moment. And she said, "Hey, it'll be all right. Even if it's not, it'll be all right." I was like, "Hey, well, I feel better now." She's like, "Good, because this is a parole hearing. This is not a normal visit." I was like, that was a cool way to do that. You're good at telling people bad stuff. Pure love. I don't know if you've ever been to a parole hearing, but it's both families get to be there. It's much more intense. You know how in church, you're not supposed to laugh, but you can, and it's awesome? In prison, at a parole hearing, you can't laugh, or your cousin has to stay in prison longer. Those are real world consequences, aren't they? Some of you are like, "Well, why would you laugh at a parole hearing?" That's what I thought. I thought the same thing. When she told me, "Hey, it's a parole hearing," I was like, well, this is not going to be fun or funny at all. I'm not going to learn about cigarette currency or if this is like Oz, none of this. I have some questions. Some are like, why would it be funny? Well, everyone gets to speak from both sides. And I don't know if you've been in a room where everyone got to speak in public and you're not allowed to laugh. It's tough. Because not everyone took public speaking at community college. Not everyone. You can applaud community college, yes. I'm not in debt. From that. So we're in there. And I'm just trying to be somewhere else at that moment in the parole hearing. I'm using everything I've ever learned in church, honestly, which is, this sucks. Transport myself to somewhere fun. So I wasn't there. I wasn't listening. And then it was towards the end. I'd made it through the whole thing. They asked me if I wanted to speak, and I was like, are you out of your mind? And then the victim's family, and it was one of the victim's acquaintances. It wasn't their family. It was her time to speak. And the first thing she said, and I'm just kind of looking down, not being there, when I hear, he'll be dead for the rest of his life. A lot of emotions. I think I know what she meant by that. She said it 8 times. Second time she said it, she said, he'll be dead for the rest of his life. My arms just flew up involuntarily. dead for the rest of his life. I'm just gonna horse bite my leg until I pass out. This is for you, cuz. He'll be dead for the rest of his life. I'm looking at the parole board at this point, like, you guys hear what's happening? Let us release the energy. That's a witch. She's casting a spell on. If we don't release this, there's gonna be a vortex and we're all doomed. He'll be dead for the rest of his life. I was like, I'm gonna rip one of my testicles off. Only need one. He'll be dead for the rest of his life. One lady on the parole board just looked down. I was like, you're human, you hear what's happening. Use your power. He'll be dead for the rest of his life. I was like, I'm gonna bite my tongue off. They have to let me leave. It's my tongue. I gotta go. I did. It's a prison. You guys know how to put these on real fast. He'll be dead for the rest of his life. By that point, it's just everyone moving in their seat like this. Both sides, both families. Just... Is our time up? Let's go. And in conclusion, he'll be dead for the rest of his life. We all made it through. I couldn't believe it. And there's no conclusion to a parole hearing. There's not. They just send a letter a couple months later, uneventfully, to announce their decision. So after they've put two families in a center block room that smells like an old warship. Yeah, you guys know that smell. Immediately know what I'm talking about. You know what that smell is? Concrete, steel, and men that want to get out. And then they just, hey, we're gonna make a stew. Let's all bring up, let's bring up the worst part of everybody's life. Yeah, everyone talk about it. Yeah, forgot about that, right? Yeah, that's an emotion you forgot existed, right? Yeah, put it in there, get it going. Yeah, let's have her sprinkle some bullshit on at the end. Hold that in there, yeah. All right, everyone go home. Hold on, one family at a time. We learned our lesson about that. And it's silence, you guys. It's a silence I've never heard since. We walk to the car as a family. Silence. We get in the car. Uncle's driving. My aunt, my other aunt. Me, my Mimi. Pure love. 6 hours to our home. 4.5 on a windy Tennessee mountain road to get to the interstate. 2 more hours. We've been on the interstate about 30 minutes. It's about 4.5 hours of the loudest silence I've ever heard. And I just look up, look at everybody. He'll be dead for the rest of his life. Thank you guys so much. It's fucking amazing. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. Tell me you love me. I did DMT. My friend Shane had it. You're trying to, I got you. I hit, and we blast off. Just colors and shapes I've never seen before. It was beautiful. I felt amazing. I was like, what do you see? And he started describing the things I saw, and I was like, what in the hell? You see what I see? He's like, yeah. I was like, what is this thing we're doing? And then there were like beings off in the distance, and I was like, hey, who's them? And he was like, oh, sometimes people welcome us. That's a welcoming committee. You can say hello. And I was like, hello. He was like, you can ask them stuff too. They'll give you answers. And I was like, being. I've always been looking for true peace and balance in this life. How do I find it? And they answered me very quickly and very assertively and clearly, the clearest answer I've ever heard in my whole life. We have this one life, and as soon as it's over, it's over. So we gotta enjoy it. 'Cause when you die, you are dead for the rest of your life. I love you. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Give it up one more time for Billy Wayne Davis, everybody!
Thank you very much.